Today, I want to touch on personal development. You really don't have to have everything figured out. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but at the same time, it is a sigh of relief. And there's reasons for that. Because, for example, society has taught us that we should really have certain things already accomplished by the age of like 25 or at 30 tops. They taught us that we have to have a house, have a family, and already be well seated in your career, or also making six figures. That's not reality. As a matter of fact, there are some people that have been able to accomplish that, and when we find out about it, we start to feel bad about ourselves, and we're like, well, how come I'm not there yet? I must have failed somewhere. A friend of mine was actually having a heart to heart with me. He was telling me that what he makes, he's not able to save anything. He's 30 years old. He's going to move in with his mom when his lease ends. And he's probably going to hang out there for like a year. He's going to help her out with the mortgage. But he'll be able to save a lot of money, that way. I could tell by the way that he was talking, like he feels like he's messed up, but there was some cards that were stacked up against him, that he was telling me, like financially, like something happened with taxes that just really like pulled him back. And we do have a lot of things that pop up in life that pull us back, and it's a little out of our control, and we have to try to figure out what's gonna work best. And so then I was like, yo, you want to know where I was at your age? And he was like, where? And I was like, I was sleeping on my brother's couch. And I got his attention. He was like, so what'd you do? And I said, time. There was literally nothing I could do. I was struggling. My credit score was shot because what happened was after college, I did have a job like already lined up for me. I worked it, but it was contracted for only 5 months. And then after that, I moved back to my home state, and I was just trying to find work, and I couldn't find anything. So I started using credit cards to pay off bills. It's not a smart thing to do, right? But desperate times calls for desperate measures. That was the only thing that I was able to do, because I was trying to freelance and do, some type of work here and there, to make ends meet. And I wasn't making money fast enough, so I had to use credit cards, right? I even used a credit card to finish paying off my car, because something told me, if I don't do this, this car is going to get repoed, because I wasn't making money fast enough to pay it off. Now, granted, I only had like $3,000 left to pay it off. So other than that, my bank account was hitting the negatives. And I'm over here, frustrated, because I'm like, at the time, just before I turned 30, that's when it started happening. I was like 28, 29 years old, right? I graduated college a little later in my years. And then I'm like, man, I'm messing up. Like, I'm messing up in life. Like, I'm over here living on my brother's couch. I couldn't even afford to help out, so he let me stay for free, right? I eventually got things going. It took me almost 2 years. It took me almost 2 years to get up on my feet. I know there's people that got up on their feet a lot quicker, but the thing was, I was trying to find things in my career, right? In the film industry. So I was freelancing, and I had started my own business too. Mind you, I'm not business savvy at all. A lot of artists are not good with business or marketing themselves. And so I'm over here struggling, and then I started doing Uber, right? But time is what I needed to start getting back on my feet. I wish I knew more about side hustles back then. I really didn't, and it's okay to pivot. It's okay to kind of change your path a little bit. I know some people, they want to stay away from that, but it's okay. You don't have to be afraid, to shift a little bit. You know, if anything, it helps us grow, because all the things I was trying to do at that time, I actually started learning a lot of skills that I didn't think I would have learned. I actually learned, you know, how to build my own website. I learned a little bit more about marketing, like digital marketing, you know, like how to run ads and all that stuff. So, you know, because I was trying to do things for my business, right? Getting clients and whatnot. So, you know, like sometimes you're going to have to, you know, outgrow yourself, you know, change paths. I know a lot of people that they went to college for one thing and they're not doing it. Some because they couldn't find jobs in it. Then there's other people that they did it and they didn't like it. Like years ago, I had this manager, like when I was a chef, I had this manager that he went into accounting. And I was like, so what happened? He was like, I did it. I don't know, maybe he did it for like a year. He was like, I did it and it wasn't for me. It was really boring. And so he just got into the kitchen and he really liked that. You know, like he really liked working in the food industry. You know, sometimes you have to take a step back and reflect, is this working out for me? You know, and you could give it time to see. You know, you don't have to like give up immediately, like 3-4 months in. Oh, this ain't working out. You know, it's okay to give yourself a year or more, and then you're like, okay, I've changed some things in it, it's not working out, time to do something a little different, right? Just don't beat yourself up. Don't even look at your age or anything like that, you know, because I've seen YouTube videos where you got people that they're in their 40s and 50s and they were never really happy with the things that they were doing in their life, and then something drastic happened where they decided to start doing a side hustle. You know, they got a little desperate, they used some savings, and they went ahead to make changes in their life to like learn a new skill, and then they just went all in. There's this lady that I've been following. It's a really cool story. She worked at a university, and she's been there for years. And I forget the lady's name. And she moved to another country. I want to say Sweden, but I could be wrong, so you know, don't quote me on that one. But she didn't think that she was gonna lose her job, and they just decided to cut her position. And so she was like, okay, I have nothing lined up for me right now. I'm in a country where like you can't really find, you know, just any type of job. And so she decided to pull out some money from her savings, right? She didn't tell her husband, which was a big no-no, and she admitted that. But she pulled out some money for the savings. She purchased a course, right, on running like a successful YouTube channel. And you know, in I think she got monetized on her second month, but in 6 months she says she's already making the same or more than what she was making at her 9 to 5. You know, and she has more time, you know, more freedom. It is a hustle, you know, but you know, it's things like that where it's like sometimes you got to make a shift in life. Like for me, I'm still creating, right? Like, you know, I'm running this channel. I'm having fun doing it. I'm having fun, you know, like playing these games, putting it out there with my commentary and non-commentary. I know people like it. I know people don't, right? Because I'm gaining and losing followers or, you know, subscribers. It's okay, whatever, you know. And I'm seeing this and I'm just trying to make, you know, changes, seeing what's working out for me. Because honestly, I really started this channel because I'm in the film industry. I used to freelance. I'm not freelancing anymore. I do have a 9 to 5. But the thing is, right now, what a lot of people don't know is that the film industry is taking a turn for the worse. They're filming movies outside of the U.S. There's not a lot going on in the U.S. And it doesn't matter if it's New York, L.A., or Atlanta. You know, like the big filming locations where everybody says, "Oh, Hollywood." No, like it's tanking everywhere. And like right now, I know in Vancouver, like it's big, you know, but over here in the States, it's not so good. The ones that are doing good are the small production companies Those are the guys that are doing film work for like local businesses, those type of commercials or music videos, and they're doing okay. But I personally know a lot of guys that, like they've worked on like big movies and shows, stuff that you guys have seen, and like right now they're struggling. People are like selling gear. It's getting crazy out there. And so it's like, if it's affecting the industry like that, my job could be affected. So what am I to do? Right? So I decided to start this channel and see what can happen, hoping for the best. And that's a shift, because like I said, I used to freelance, and now I don't anymore. The most that I do is just editing remotely. I've helped out some people, like with their indie films or other projects, but it's not what I had in mind when I went to film school. Because when I went to film school, I wanted to be a cinematographer. I wanted to do big blockbuster films eventually, and it's not happening. Some things just didn't work out for me, and that's okay. That's okay, because the rough thing about being in the industry, and I know, because like I personally know people that you don't have time for your family, and the divorce rate is pretty high. And I love my family too much, so maybe not now when my kids are young, like when they grow up and like they're off to college, I'll see if I could crack into it. But this stage of my life, nope. But and I know other people that were successful, but they're not in it because they got tired of it, and so they went into a whole nother industry. That's okay. Again, you don't have to have it all figured out. It takes a while. Like, I've even heard of people that, they seem successful and they're like in their 50s and 60s, and they're like, nope, I still don't have it all figured out. It's a lie when they try to put that on you, like, you got to have it figured out, by this age. If not, you're a failure. No, it's not true. So I want to leave you guys with that. If you feel that you're in these shoes that I've been describing, that this is happening to you, you're not alone. And don't feel bad. It's okay, because like you just got to start thinking, what can you do different, or what can you do next? It's all right. It's not your fault. And if you did do something that you can legitimately say, well, this was my fault, this is where I messed up, well, okay, well, just shift, just make a change, and start trying to learn something new. It's not too late. It's too late when you're dead, but it's not too late. So all right, guys, I hope this helped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.